Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's Monday, December 1st, 2014, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, season's greetings from Ferguson.
It raised a broader issue as to whether we are militarizing domestic law enforcement unnecessarily, and is the federal government facilitating that? I will be signing an executive order that specifies how we are going to make sure that that program is accountable, how we're going to make sure that that program is transparent.
Well, over the last several days, we've seen tremendous movements in the price of gold, the price of oil, both tumbling. Oil is at the lowest point it's been in 5 years. And of course, there's some interesting backstories in both of those. Let's look at gold first. The reason for its decline was a referendum in Switzerland. They were going to protect the currency by having it backed by at least a 20% gold standard. They were going to repatriate gold into the country, but that was voted down. 78% of the people in Switzerland voted against that conservative approach. Now, if it was an honest election, here's how they might have manipulated public opinion. We saw a lot of this from the mainstream press, from economists. For example, this is the chief economist at Citibank. The commodity, that is gold, is in a 6,000-year bubble. He said, no central bank should hold any gold reserves in our view. He said, a central bank holding 20% of its balance sheet in any single commodity is, quote, highly unorthodox and a risky investment strategy. Very, very different from what we heard from Alan Greenspan just recently when he went before the CFR. And we covered this back with an interview with Ted Anderson just a couple of weeks ago as we were talking about what was happening with gold. Gold at the time was going up because most people thought Switzerland would do the rational thing and back their currency with gold. But that didn't happen, mainly because of lies like this. But here's what Alan Greenspan, former chair of the Federal Reserve, said about gold. He said, gold is currency. No fiat currency, including the dollar, can match it. That's what Alan Greenspan said. Yet, in the run-up to this referendum, we hear this banker from Citibank saying gold is in a 6,000-year bubble. In other words, it's been overrated through entire human history. That's the kind of lies that prevailed, apparently, in this referendum. And so now gold that had hit about $1,400 dropped into the $1,100 range, rebounded about 4% today into the $1,200 range. Now, Russia's currency dropped 4%, not having anything to do with gold, but having to do with oil. We see that Saudi Arabia is making a major move against U.S. oil shale. They're trying to basically price oil so low that they put American producers out of business. But of course, another objective of this is to make a move against Russia. That is also in the interest of the globalists and in the interest of a regime like Saudi Arabia that's essentially a monarchy highly connected to the U.S. CIA. They would dearly love to move against Russia. We see that Russia and China and India and Brazil are all directly trying to go around the petrodollar, directly changing and exchanging their money for commodities. This is a direct strike against them, as we see happening in the Ukraine, but it's primarily against U.S. oil shale. That's the main obvious game. As the Telegraph points out, the U.S. had a trade deficit of $354 billion in oil and gas as recently as just 3 years ago. Now it looks like, because of the changes in shale oil and natural gas, it looks like we could become a net exporter of crude oil and petroleum products combined by 2019, if not 2018. So Saudi Arabia is making a move to shut down our domestic production of oil and gas, to shut down our energy independence. That's what our ally is doing. Now, they're pointing out that that may be a gamble that they may not win. Right now, it's headed, they say, down to about $40 per barrel. But they're saying in North Dakota's vast Bakken field, a company that works there said that they can handle $42 per barrel. They may even be able to go down to $28 per barrel in that location. That may not be a gambit that pays off for Saudi Arabia. And of course, it's going to have tremendous political gamble for them because they may not be able to drive U.S. shale oil producers out of business, but it also carries a political risk for them. As the article points out here, it will heighten geostrategic turmoil across the Middle East. But of course, it's all part of trying to kill our energy independence, to try to bring down the United States. And of course, that's one of our closest allies in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, an ally of the CIA, not of the American people. But of course, the government is also targeting our lives, not just our economy. Look at this story up on Infowars.com today. Vaccines will be made from human cancer tumors. That's right. They went back and looked at hearings from the FDA, and what they're saying is the method of producing vaccines using cells derived directly from human cancer tumors has been approved, even though the vaccines may induce cancer in recipients. This method is cheaper and faster than breeding animals for the culture media, and human cancer tumors are readily available because of other things that they're putting in our food supply, because of other additives that they put into our vaccines. Look at what they said in these hearings. You've got one doctor saying the vaccines may cause cancer tumors in recipients. He says, we have really identified 3 major factors that could potentially convey risk from tumor-derived cells. These include the cells themselves. Another doctor says they will cause tumors. He says, what I think is qualitatively different about the tumor cell lines is the fact that they can cause tumors. And then finally, this will take decades. As a third doctor points out, certainly if you're going to address the question about tumor risk of vaccines and tumor cell lines, it's going to have to be a decades question. In other words, you're going to have to look at this over a long period of time. This isn't something that's going to be solved with a very short study. They know what this is going to do. Listen, if you've got cancer tumors loose in your body, that's essentially metastatic cancer waiting to happen. I mean, it's on the move. It's going to present itself as tumors in other parts of your bodies. Amazing that they would directly inject cancer tumors into the human body because it simply delivers their drug more cheaply and more effectively. Well, stay with us. Right after the break, we have an after-action report with our reporters who were on the scene in Ferguson, Jakari Jackson and Joe Biggs. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At Infowars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com and to help others during Christmas by teaching them about the powerful benefits of silver. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.